very happy that you're here. So let's go ahead and start this morning by doing our 3 ohms just to unify us no matter where we are. So we're on the same page at the same moment, okay? Om. 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 So the word that we're meditating on we have been for the month of September is the word introspection. This word is not the easiest word to insert into a conversation. Excuse me. Pardon me. This word has not been the easiest to insert into conversation because how often do you use it during the day, right? It's like, do you say, oh, look, I was staying at home this morning being a little introspective? We don't usually use it. So when we have a word for the month like that you really feel like it's very difficult to insert into conversation, what I suggest that you do is think of other words that are similar. So we know introspection means what? What in the world does it really mean either? What does it mean? To be introspective is to look at ourselves without judgment. Now, are you familiar with that? I say that because all of us have a tendency to look at ourselves and either tell us, what a dodo bird we are or whatever it may be, and so it's not always easy for us just to look at ourselves. But one of the main things about introspection are these 3 words. Who am I? Which is a very different question to ask yourself throughout the day than what do I want? We've been speaking about this. This has been a little bit of a theme throughout September. And so some of you have heard me talking about this throughout this entire month. But it is important to see the difference between who am I and what do I want? Because the more we ask ourselves, what is it that I want? I feel unsatisfied. I must not be doing what I want. Want, right? What do I want? I'm unfulfilled. Let me look outside and see, is there something out there I want? Let me look on my phone. Let me see, is there something I want? So we're always looking for what we want, hoping that we will find it. And when it comes into us, we will feel like, right? So that's not introspection. I'm not saying stop doing that. I am saying be aware of it so that we know the difference between I want and who am I. So when you're doing introspection, it's like, instead of saying just like, I do encourage you to say, who am I? Because that's a traditional way of doing what we call self-inquiry. Self-inquiry is a very, very old method of introspection that was given to us by the yogis, God only knows how many thousands of years ago, and it's still there. But it's the who am I? Who am I leads to I am. I am that, which means I am no different than the divine. That is the answer. But we're always looking for that answer. But the thing is introspection is how we learn to see. Desires is how we learn to look. Looking and seeing are not the same thing. So in an intuitive session, I'm not looking for what you want. You might ask me, I want this thing to happen. But you'll say, what do you see? I'm not going to look for what it is that you want. I'm just going to see what's there. It's very different. The more that we put all of our emphasis on our desires and what do I want, and all my happiness is about my desires, whether I attain my desires or not, we live in a constant state of feeling like we don't have enough. I don't have enough. I haven't arrived. I'm not there. I don't have this money. I don't have this recognition. I don't have these things. I'm going to keep wanting these things until I have them. After all, I deserve them. Now, you see, when I say that, I'm not really saying, yeah, I feel like it's natural for me to have it. This is a very different thing. It feels natural for me to have this, to be this, to go in this direction. Then I deserve it. You see, once I get up fixated into this, it's very difficult for me to be open and actually receive. So introspection is about creating space. So if I have a bowl here and it's full, it's going to be very difficult for me to put something else in it unless I remove something. So our minds are very full with all of our desires. What do I want? What do I want? What do I want? And so we have all these desires piled up in our mind that makes us very anxious. And we look out into the future to see if we can see, are they there? Are they there? What do I want? Is it out there? Because it isn't here now. Why is it out there? But the thoughts are taking up so much space that it's very difficult for us to be at peace. So what we're doing is we're learning how to be introspective, to empty ourselves out so that we can receive from life the goodness that's already in hand. So to be introspective is to help ourselves to let go of judgment and criticism as much as we can each day. It's not something you're going to get rid of in a day or a week or a month or a year or even 10 years. Because the more that you criticize yourself, you see you can't get away from it. You can empty yourself one day, but here it comes back again. But it's establishing a habit of speaking as a human being to a human being. Introspection is about being quiet. How do you do that throughout the day? Or do you? Is it on your want list? I was telling you about that big want list. I want. Is introspection or peace on your list of what you want today, this year? Is it on your goal list? Is it on your list of things that you're practicing to become, that you aspire to? Is peace something that you desire? Because we think that if we have certain things or certain relationships, we'll have peace. So really, we're actually looking for peace, but we're looking for it in things that we desire. Peace is something that we already have. When you're in a really deep sleep, you don't remember anything because there's not even dream activity that's going on. You're actually in a really deep place of peace, but you're not conscious of it. So I say that to you so that you remember peace is within us. When you sit down to meditate, you're like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get some peace here now. But as soon as you start to sit down to meditate, you start to realize really how much stuff is up here. And it's flying around and they're bumping into each other. There's all kinds of thoughts that's going on. And it's very difficult to get peace by doing that. We're going to come back to a meditation practice, but I want to let you know that you can cultivate peace throughout the day in your daily life without sitting to do this. I'm not saying that this isn't a good idea because I do think it's an excellent idea. And we're going to come back to that. But throughout the day, it's important that you come back and ask yourself, who am I in this situation? Am I the aggressor? Am I the kind person? Not in comparison to the other person, but within yourself. Am I showing the part of me that is the kind person rather than the not so nice person? Who am I? In each moment throughout your day, who am I? Am I emanating peace? Am I emanating, am I vibrating like this? Who am I? What's going on with me? And if you feel yourself being too tight, even like on the verge of just wanting to criticize whoever crosses your path, if you feel that tense, that tight inside, if you can catch it, in that moment and say, who am I right now? Oh my gosh, I'm a person who's about to explode. If you can catch it, if you can be aware of it and you can catch it, you can change it. And every time that you change it, you have deeper inner strength. So the next time it comes around, you can catch it a moment before the the last time you caught it. And if you can catch it 5 minutes before it happens, it won't happen. We can literally change our future by asking ourselves, who am I? And helping ourselves to change ourselves in that moment. Oh, right now, I am a very angry woman right now. I'm very, very angry. Ugh, and I have a right to be. And you feel all of that. And you ask yourself, is that who I want to be? No. Is that who I am in that moment? In that moment, that is who I am. I am a very angry woman in that moment. And I might feel very certain that I have every right to be. But remember what I've told you before. You have every right to be at peace. We scream and shout, I have a right to be angry. But we do not proclaim, I have a right to peace. Can't make anybody give you peace because you think they're taking my peace away because they're talking too much. Even if they stop, that doesn't mean suddenly peace blossoms inside of you. That's your job with you. Nobody can actually give you peace. Just because they become quiet doesn't mean you're peaceful. It means that your environment is more peaceful. But it doesn't indicate that what you have going on in here is more peaceful. Our job is to find this peacefulness inside of ourselves and know that that's who I really am. My true nature is peace. Now, if you think about the word peace and you mistake it for passiveness, passivity, you will not desire peace. Because you will be misled in thinking that peace means now you're just going to be like, okay, anything you say, I'll keep the peace. Sure, I'll agree with you. I'll agree with you. Yeah, I'll do it. Oh my Lord, no. You will be run over. So that tells me you won't have peace. Passiveness, a passive nature is not a peaceful nature. A peaceful nature is vibrant. It's a person that knows that they can trust themselves. When things get bad, they can find their center. A truly peaceful person can be in the middle of a thick situation where people are arguing against each other and that person is uncontaminated. Do you think that's passive? I think that's fantastic inner strength. And each of us has that inner strength, the ability to stand strong in the face of adversity, the ability to not lose our mind because everybody else has lost their mind around us and are screaming and horrible things to one another. If you practice peace, you are that person who will not be contaminated by all of that. And because you lack that contamination, that gives you the ability to find solutions that can help other people. When you become contaminated with group anger, you will not be looking for solutions. You will be looking for ways to strike out. The practice of introspection, going in, asking myself, am I peace? Am I peace right now? Not am I at peace? Am I peace? Merely asking yourself that question, am I peace, brings it into your consciousness that it's there. It's learning to feel it and know that it's a strength. It is not wimpy, wishy-washy, passive, non-functioning, because why would we be encouraged to pursue it if it were that lazy? I would have no interest in talking to you about peace if it just meant I was going to be a passive, lazy person. Oh, sure, I'm keeping the peace. I'm not going to be involved. No, I'm peaceful. No. As odd as it is, we have to fight for peace and not each other. That's where people get confused. But don't we have to fight for it? Yes. Every moment of every day within yourself. Every day, every moment of every day, there's a struggle to be at peace. There is. Think about your day. You got an appointment. You're driving. I got to get there. Oh, what are they going to say? How's it going to go? What's happening? No peace there. Well, I can't be. I have to think about it. I have to do all of this. No peace there. And we convince ourselves that peace is not necessary. Yet I'm going to the interview. What do I want? I want the peace of mind to be at my best. Am I at my best? Because I'm like freaking out by the time I get there. My insides are churning. I'm just like, oh my God. Am I at my best? No. Do I want to be at my best? Yes. Do I know how to be at my best? No, apparently not. Helping myself to breathe on the way to the interview, helping myself to stay centered, helping myself to settle into, I am a good human being. And that's what matters. That's what matters. No, what matters is the job. I don't care if they think I'm a good human being or not. I want the job. Okay. But even if you get the job, you're still going to be that person who's doing this. The job won't make you stop doing that. The job in and of itself will not make you at peace. Because once you get the job, there's problems that go with every job. And are you capable of keeping your peace once you get that job? See what I mean? So to be introspective is to find out, who am I today? Oh, I'm a stressed out individual for sure. Now, you see, I said it in a way where it's just for today. Doesn't mean that's who I am. It means that's how I'm identifying myself in this moment. It's only a temporary identity. It's not who I am. Identities can change. You can change your name. You can change your title. Those are just identities. It's not who I am. Who I am is a soul. And I'm nameless. You know me by Jacqueline. That's not who I am. That's my name. To be introspective is to go past, is to go beyond identifying yourself as a certain person, a certain name, a certain occupation, those kinds of things. You want to get beyond that. You want to go beyond name and form. You want to go into what's really going on. But the only way to have peace is to practice introspection. And it's the one thing that universally, I would say all of us have become very good at avoiding. We avoid inner peace, but we want it outwardly. And we're convinced that peace is passive. We're convinced that we can't win an argument if we're peaceful. None of this makes sense, because every desire that you have for something outside of yourself that you want to get and attain and bring to yourself is to bring peace into your life. You're like, no, I just want money and power and maybe some good health in there. You have all of those things without peace. No, they're going to tear you apart. It's not easy to be a person that has perfect discernment on every choice. We'd have to be a yogic master. You and I, that's why we call ourselves, or what I call us, is saints in training, which means that's what we come to Earth. We came here to train ourselves to evolve, to become that which the seed of who we are becoming is still inside of us. We have a seed that's blossoming inside of us that makes us become liberated from all of this pain. I know that's a really big thought, isn't it? It's a really big thought. So let's just know that that's there and come back. What can you do as a human being today, 2023, to help you to discover peace throughout the day? What can you do? First thing that you can do is let yourself sit, like I'm sitting in this seat right now. Let yourself sit here and just kind of take some inventory. Do you want to be still? You feel like you want to do this? You feel like you want to move your legs? Feel like you want to move your hands? Right? This is how we want to start everything, in silence. If you start something with a lot of excess movement, it will continue to be that way. Excess movement in our bodies is excess movement in the mind. It's moving around so fast, bouncing around so fast that it's making parts of our bodies actually move. And we're not even thinking about it. We all have this. We can label them anything you want. But we all know when this is excessive in here, it will move through your body and make it want to move in different ways. So what you want to do is help yourself to sit. Sit until you can feel that restlessness move out of you. You're helping yourself to breathe. You're helping yourself to relax. And you're helping yourself to be able to step up to a starting line. Because if you're in movement before you get to the starting line, you're going to be like horses, you know? Their mind isn't settled because they're scared about what you want them to do. It makes them anxious. So we get anxious about how our day is going to unfold. So instead of sitting and being quiet and emptying out all the excess debris so that we can go out into our day and have a beautiful day, we don't do that. We shower, we make sure we're clean, we brush our teeth, make sure our mouth is clean, we put on clean clothes, we do everything like this to be clean, but now we have a mind that's cluttered. And we're going out into the world with this cluttered mind that's bouncing around. Of course, I'm exaggerating so you can see it. And we take this cluttered mind everywhere we go in our clean clothes and our clean body. But we can't manage what we're saying. We can't manage what we're doing because we can't focus, because we haven't cleaned out our mind. We didn't even think to clean out our mind. We know not to smell bad when we go out, but we don't get rid of the stinky thoughts. So what I suggest is, I'm not talking about deep meditation practices right now. I am talking about feeling yourself as you're getting ready in the morning to leave for your day, or to walk into your office down the hall from your bedroom, wherever your day begins. To take a few moments. If you're sitting at a desk, do it just like I'm doing it right now. Lay your hands on the table. Get your feet on the ground. My feet aren't touching the ground. Get your feet on the ground. And help yourself to locate where in your body is all this tension at. Right now, when I feel mine, it's in my hands. You might be like, your hands? We're all different. I just happen to have sensitive hands, and I feel anxiousness in my hands. It makes me want to close them, makes me want to shake them. It's almost painful. Don't worry, there's nothing wrong here. Nothing wrong. I just say that to you because that's how I experience it. One of my sisters experiences it that way too. It's just something that's there. You might experience it up here. You might experience it in your face where it gets really tight and pinched. You might feel it in your jaw. You might feel it in your back, in your hips, or even in your knees. Feel where that tension is and help yourself. Help yourself. Send peace. Send peace. For me, I do this little thing with my hands so that I can feel my own energy, so that I can remember I am not this icky stuff that's running through me right now. It just happens to be the space that I'm occupying. So I'm teaching myself to empty out, like I empty out the germs from my mouth. I empty out the dirt from my body. I empty out the debris from my mind so that I can go out into the world refreshed like the rest of me. Ready to breathe deeply. Ready to receive what's going on throughout the day. If you leave your house all nice and clean and your mind is a whirlwind, now you're just a clean whirlwind. We can do better. Notice I didn't give you any like instructions on count, holding your breath, doing all these different things. There are all those things and we can talk about them, of course. But the main thing to remember is to have respect for yourself and make sure that you have a clean mind in the morning before you do anything else. It doesn't take a half an hour. It doesn't take 20 minutes. Unless you're really suffering, which it could take 20 minutes, and it's totally worth it. But generally speaking, for our intents and purposes, 10 minutes. Most people aren't going to rest 10 minutes most of the day anyway. Most days, most people will not consciously set aside 10 minutes to rest. Why? I don't know. We act like we're inland. We have boundless energy. And we do, but the way that we use it is so painful that it actually is, we don't have the energy. We don't have access to boundless energy. But if we emptied out, we would have the space for the new energy, the clean energy to move through us. So we can have better attention, better memory, better control of our emotions, inner strength to walk away. Because sometimes we have to walk away. When there's a conflict with another person and you feel like it's not going to be able to be resolvable, we have to find that peace within ourselves and not say, I'm leaving because of them. You're leaving because it's too hard on you. We don't have to villainize everyone. If it's too hard on you, it's too hard on you. You ask yourself, who am I? Right now, I don't feel strong enough to bear this out. Okay, let's respect that. Right now, I don't feel strong enough to bear this out. So, all right. Find a solution for you to protect your peace, not against someone, not against an idea, but because you treasure your peace. You do it for you. You don't do it against someone. You do it for you. You don't do it because of some policy that the government makes. You do it for you. And when you do this for you, coming home, practicing peace, you are stronger. Your body and your mind are stronger. Your life will be spent in a much more divine way. You won't be passive. There's no danger of spirituality making you passive. No. No. It will make you strong and discerning, which means you won't make as many movements. You won't be shaking and doing all the different things that we do when we're upset. You know, driving crazily, walking crazily, in the sense of crazily, in the sense of like, right? When we see people and they look all right. But if you sit across from someone and you see them intuitively, you know that they're not. I have never sat across from somebody who had perfect peace. And every person that's ever sat across from me has never seen me in perfect peace either. I've never had it. I have deeper peace now than I had even dreamed that existed. At this time in my life, I do have greater access to inner peace than I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't even know what that felt like, but I trusted it. I trusted the lesson. I trusted the lesson that the cultivation of peace would make me stronger inside, the ability to bear things without putting so much effort into it, because the effort would be inherent. We're accessing peace. It's already inside of us. It's just that we thought it would make us weak, that people would walk on us. I'm gonna keep the peace. Walk on me. Okay. Yeah. I avoid conflict. Okay. I do not walk straight into conflict going, I love conflict. Mm-mm. But there are times when conflict is around me. Of course, there's conflict inside of myself. And that conflict inside of myself gets projected out upon others. Now I have conflict with somebody else. Now I have to resolve it with myself, because the other person may not want to resolve it with me. Do I chase them down because they don't want to resolve it with me? I don't. You may, because every situation is different. Every person is different. I'm just not a fan of chasing people down that don't have peace with me. Let me tell you, let me get you to understand me. I'm kind of busy understanding myself right now. How can somebody else understand me when I'm still not like really understanding me? And I have to know that. And I know that by asking myself, do I understand myself? Not quite. Not quite. What I do understand about myself is that there's a part of me that's divine. And I verify that with others, because I can feel it in them. It's so interesting, somebody does something that's unpredictable and it makes you go, wow, I wasn't expecting her to be so kind to me. She hasn't before. That kindness was always inherent inside of her. You see, the divine inside of us does peek out from time to time. And it's important that you see it so that you know it's there. It is there. And how do you get it? How do you get that inner strength? By teaching yourself to be quiet, cultivating peace, quiet. This kind of quiet may not actually be absence of noise, because this kind of quiet that I'm talking about, it will help you when you're in a situation where the noise is aplenty. But if you know that there's a place inside of you that has the absence of noise, and you begin to practice accessing it, you can find it even in a place where the noise is so big, everybody is kind of going, wow. Very difficult to think in a situation like that. But if you practice quiet, you will be able to find it when you're in a difficult situation and you want to scream and yell and go off I'm telling it to you this way so that you teach yourself about intuitive living. Remember that intuition does not project. It doesn't project. It doesn't. It receives information. Our intuition is like one big ear, and it receives vibrations. It is the part of us that is aware that everything is vibrational. So by practicing stillness, by practicing being introspective, who am I in this moment? I'm a chocolate mess in this moment. Okay. If I'm a chocolate mess in this moment, I've got to find a way to clean it up. Help myself to bring out the best, which is the sweetness of the chocolate. But have it work for me. Help it to nourish me. That kind of sweetness is strength. Again, it's not like, hi, sugar, how you doing? It has to do with a genuine love. A genuine love. We can change ourselves. You know that you're walking along and you're feeling really good, and then the next moment you're like, what? You see, we know how to change into that. But once you're in what, we forget that we can change back into. So it's about helping ourselves to learn to be perfectly still, at least for 10 minutes. You know my magical formula, 3 words, long and slow. If you can commit to even 5 minutes, set your watch, set your phone, set your whatever, set your old-fashioned timer, set whatever you have for 5 minutes and give yourself space. Don't think about it as meditation. Don't think about it as something you should be doing. Think about it as a 5-minute shower from within. You're going to spend 5 minutes in the shower. You're going to spend 5 minutes brushing your teeth. Well, maybe not the whole time, but you will spend time getting ready, cleaning yourself. You add 5 more minutes to sitting and breathing long and slow. You will feel better about starting your day because you'll have a clean bowl to put your cereal in. You will. You'll be able to receive the day in a sweeter way. You'll have more inner strength because your body isn't moving all the time. Your mind isn't moving all the time. It doesn't want to. It feels it from other people. And believe you me, that kind of movement that I was showing you, this kind of movement, is contagious. So if you're in a room full of people who are doing it, which could happen anywhere you go, and you've been practicing your peace, you'll feel it in the room. When you learn to feel it in the room that you're in, you can access peace because you know the difference between that feeling and the feeling of peace. But if you don't practice, you don't know the difference. And what happens is that other people's restlessness has now entered into you, and now it meets your restlessness, and now you leave that place more restless than when you arrived. It's contagious. Anger is contagious. Deep feelings of this are contagious. Stress is contagious. But so is joy. So is peace. It's just that these things, unfortunately, they're very easy to access, just like junk food is very easy to access at the grocery store. They got big aisles. They just don't put junk food on there, but we know where it is. And we go for it. Put it in the cart. Yeah, let's go. And you notice that it's noisy food usually. Crunch, crunch, crunch. So I say this to you because you want to get rid of the crunch in your mind, at least for 5 minutes a day. Rest. Come back to yourself so that when you go out into the world, you know the difference between this peace and the stress or the anger or whatever it is that you're walking through out here, so that you're not so vulnerable to catch it. Because once you catch somebody else's anger, and you go home, you give it to your family, just like you would give them a cold. You give it to your dog. Give it to your cat. We spread it around because it's contagious. We don't even know we're doing it because most people don't think of life as energy. Everything is energy. I know you've heard that a million times, but don't make it mean nothing. Why have you heard it a million times? Because it's important. Why have you heard a million times as you're a child, be good today? That's what my mother used to say when we would leave the house. Last thing she would say to us as we were leaving, be good. Yeah, and hope for the best. She didn't say that, but that's a little bit of a side view here. And do hope for the best, absolutely. That's true. But be good. Be good. It's not like you're bad, so try to be good. What's wrong with you? It just means be it. Because goodness is strength. Again, it's not passivity. It doesn't mean you're going to get run over. We're deciding that you have to be angry and you have to walk around like this so people won't walk on you. Whew. I don't think so. Because if you do that, you won't have enough energy to survive the fight. I'll tell you a little secret here. So many of you know that I've been involved with Kung Fu for a really long time. I have not been sparring in Kung Fu for, oh gosh, over a decade. Longer than that. But let's just put it at that. I'm telling you because I used to have to spar with men. Spar means to fight. Now, if you fight one another or you spar with one another with, I'm coming at you, I'm going to defeat you. Oh, yeah, and you get excited about doing it, you're already going to lose. What you learn in Kung Fu is you learn to be perfectly still. You learn to be perfectly still so that all the moves that you've been learning, you trust that the repetition of those moves are inherent. They're there. And you trust that when you're perfectly still, the correct move will happen. So because I was the only woman, sometimes the men didn't want to spar with me because it's like, oh, there's the girl, especially the new men. But what I learned was no matter how much you know in Kung Fu, it doesn't matter what size you are. It doesn't matter what gender you are. It's not designed for strong men only. No, I think I've told you before, the person who was the best at Kung Fu was a woman and she was a nun. These two things are not what you would think that somebody would be the best at. So what I learned in there was I learned that when I would be sparring with really big men, I know if they got too close to me, their strength could take me down. So I knew that the best thing to do was to let them wear themselves out. So as we would spar, I would be very quiet and I would be defensive rather than offensive. And then when their breathing started to change, because now they're a little tired, then I could make my move towards them to end the sparring. So then I wasn't taken down. So you see, it looks like I was going to be taken down. Now remember these things when I say sparring, the men that I was sparring with, they were my brothers. We were family. We were not there to hurt each other. It didn't anger us. We knew better than that. No, we were more like kittens, sparring. We weren't there to compete with each other. There wasn't anybody there that wanted to hurt me and knock me down. And I didn't want to do that to them either. We were all learning to control ourselves, to control our emotions, to fight that which could ruin our peace. We were learning how to control ourselves. I learned so much from that, learning how to still my breath, because when you spar with someone, you can feel your adrenaline starting to move, and you have to learn to control it so that it doesn't make you angry, so that it doesn't make you anxious, so that you stay centered. So I use that as an example. So Kung Fu means master of work. That's what it means. So when you're out in the world, you learn to use your mind and your body in harmony so you don't lose your center. You don't get so angry because you know that you could do something that could harm someone. So you know that you can't use your body to express yourself because it could hurt someone. And Kung Fu teaches you that's a bad idea. It's disrespectful to the art. So the people who are the very, very best at Kung Fu have the most what we call yi hei, which means heart, not the biggest muscles. The biggest heart. And the heart is not this place where you're like passive and wimpy. No. So what did they used to say? They used to say, help the strong and protect the weak. That's the motto. Help the strong, but protect the weak. There's nothing about violence. But I do realize that people have made it violent. But that doesn't mean that's what it is. I realize that religion is to teach us about love. But we all know that there are people who haven't used it for that. You have to ask yourself, who am I? Not what people think. Instead of asking yourself, what does everybody think about me? Ask yourself, who am I? Am I a person who is striving to stay centered so I can be at my best? Or am I just a flailing chocolate mess hurling through the streets to wherever I'm going to go to meet other people who are also doing the same thing? Well, we're just going to be whirling tornadoes crashing into each other. But if we can all learn to remember to breathe, learn to remember to breathe, learn to remember to breathe. Introspection, the practice of introspection can help you even in an emergency situation. So I'm going to tell you another Kung Fu story. I don't know why I'm telling you Kung Fu stories today. Many, many, many years ago, my father and I were at the mall, and we had dropped my mother and my sister off. I was doing some Christmas shopping, and my father and I were in the car looking for a parking space. And so he said, oh, look, there's one there, pull in there. And as I'm pulling in, there's this big man, younger man, and he jumped into the space and said, nope, I'm saving this space for someone. I was already in the space, but it's okay. So my father, who God only knows how old was he then, I would say close to 80, jumps out of the car before I can say anything, and he's going to attack this man because I'm his daughter. So he's out of the car. Now my father and this man are this, and my father's like this. This old guy is ready to go to blows. And of course, the young man thinks this is really funny. So now I'm trying to like get the keys out of the car and get it in, because now I'm like, oh my God, now my father wants to save me. I want to save my father. The man wants to save the parking space. We all have this thing that we want to save. But when I got there, I stood in front of my father. Whew. Stood in front of him. Now, my father is was a very strong Latin man. And soon as I went in front of him, I immediately went into my Kung Fu stance, because I've done it so often that it's natural to me to do that. My father's behind me, trying to push me out of the way with my shoulder. He's trying to pull my shoulder to get me out of the way, because he's like, you're going to get hurt. So he's trying to remove me from the situation. The man that I'm facing is now really laughing, like, oh my God. So long story short, this man decides that this is ridiculous. You know, he doesn't want to get involved with this crazy Latino man and this woman who seems to be really out of her mind. And so he leaves. So my father says to me afterwards, he says, what were you thinking? What were you thinking? What were you doing? You know, I wanted to ask him the same thing, you know, but I told him, I said, Poppy, you didn't see how he was standing. He was standing in such a way that his legs were parted. And all I had to do was take advantage of that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Does that make it clear? Yes. That made me perfectly calm, because in that moment, I knew there was a place that if things got worse, this man would have to, the pain would make him back away. Did I want to hurt him? No. I wanted to use my Kung Fu strength in my energy to help him to sense that something wasn't right here. Something doesn't seem to be what it is. I think I'll laugh at these people and walk away. That was my inner strength that came from in here of training over such a long time to breathe long and slow. Long and slow. My father jumped out of the car because his instinct was to save his daughter. I jumped into the fray the way that I did because I knew I could see that I could take this man. Did I want to? No. And I have to do everything first to not have conflict. We have to do everything in our power to not have physical contact like that. Conflict. We have to help ourselves in moments like that to find our center. You do that by being introspective, by treating yourself to being quiet, by emptying yourself out of the debris, so that in a moment like that, you're just not going for it. You're not just letting the adrenaline dictate what's going on, because it'll make you just crazy inside. You'll just want to hurt somebody. And when we get to that point where people just want to hurt each other, we're in serious, serious trouble. And that is contagious. Because now you go home and you tell people, yeah, then we're like, well, where does he live? Let's go find him. Let's go do this. On a big scale, countries are like this. Oh, okay, now we're going to bigger bomb. We're going to get them. Never let your adrenaline think for you. It's designed for emergency situations only. And even then, you don't want it to control you. You must control it. You must control your mind. You must control the anger that wells up inside of you. You can blame it on everybody else. Yes, because it's contagious. You caught it from them. And they've caught it from you. If we put what you're looking for back on you, not to judge you. Notice I didn't say tell yourself what a stupid person you are. That's not introspection. Introspection is, who am I? It's time that you got to learn to get contact with the divine part of you. You already know that I am angry today. I am angry today. You see how I'm making that statement? I am angry. But if I made the statement, I am peace. When's the last time you actually said, I am peace? You know you've said, I am angry. Every one of us has said that. I'm not saying this is a fault. I'm just saying it's a habit. But do you have the habit of proclaiming, I am peace? And why not? Because you think it's a damn lie. I'm not at peace. Why would I say that? It's ridiculous. I am angry right now. That's the truth. And I should be. And I deserve to be. Do you deserve peace? Should you be peace? Can you be peace? You already are. It's just neglected. It's forgotten about. Time to remember. Time to remember to practice. I am peace. Who am I? I am peace. Who am I? I am love. Who am I? I am peace. I am peace. I am peace. I am peace. It doesn't take long, and your inner strength returns. And when it returns, you're more available to love, to receive love, to give love. You're more available to do the things that you wanted to do today. Because if you don't let go of the anger, it will just nest in you. And it will make your body move in certain ways. Might even make you pace because you can't be still. When you have peace, you're not going to feel that impulsivity running through your body so much. This is not something that you practice, about a year, I should be able to get this. No, it's for the rest of your life. For the rest of your life. And it teaches you that when you feel like you have to do something out of duty, you're supposed to go do something when you'd rather do something else. So your mind is like there and you're like, oh yeah, I have to do this. I have to take care of this person today. I really don't want to. I wish they'd take care of themselves, but no, they don't. So here I am. I'm having to do this. I'd much rather be over here. I'm already here. I'm already at the situation where I'm helping somebody, but am I helping somebody? Because if my mind is fighting every action that I do, every time I touch that person, everything that I do for that person is now contaminated with my mind that doesn't want to be there. It's a waste. Now I've hurt myself. I've hurt the other person. And the time that I was there, if I practiced peace, I would be able to be present and I would be able to give to that person and help myself to stop thinking about how hard this is and why should I have to be doing this? If I could empty myself, I could be in the same set of circumstances, performing the same actions with love and with peace. And when I walk away from it that night, I won't be, yeah, I did that for them. I won't be doing that because I won't be thinking about it. Because peace entered into it. I did it for love. I did it for peace. And now I don't have to think about it anymore. How do you spend those moments? Are you doing things that you resent doing, but you're going to have to do the deed anyway? Like going to the store or whatever it is? Help yourself in that moment to go, who am I? Who am I? Oh, wait a minute. I'm an angry person right now. Okay, I don't want that. Okay, I'm in the car. I'm on the way to the store because nobody else can do it. Okay, fine. Okay. Let me breathe. Let me come back to myself. Let me do this time with love. Why? They wouldn't do it for you. Okay, maybe that's true. Maybe that's not true. But I want to do it for love because that's who I am right now. So I'm hoping that over this next month that you remember about introspection and that you help yourself to have a deeper sense of love, a deeper sense of peace, and know that it's inherent. You don't have to go shopping for it. You don't have to go courting for it. Have it here and take it everywhere that you go, and it'll help you curb desires that can hurt you. And to continue on this, for the month of October, we're going to meditate on the word commitment. Commitment. Commitment is a word, remember, that comes from the heart. Commitment. Now, a saboteur of commitment can be a lot of different things, but the one that we really want to work on is duty. Now, duty is a good thing, but it's a little different than commitment, because you can perform your duty with, like I was showing you. But when you're really committed, it means that your heart has chosen to be a particular way. So let us be committed to the practice of peace, to the practice of love throughout October, and help us reduce resentment of the feeling that could be coming from duty. Let's elevate the word duty to a higher level by using commitment. Try to insert it into your vocabulary, into your conversations. Are you going to show up? Yes, I'm committed. I'll be there. Oh, can you bring this? Yes, I'm committed to that. Well, how are you doing today? You know, I'm really committed today to really helping myself be at peace. You might think that sounds corny. Who cares? We're talking about love. So, if you want to stay for a few moments for a couple of questions, that's great. But let us do 3 ohms to have a nice finish to this part, okay? Om. Om. May peace be with you. Namaste. Does anyone have a question? Is there a
I
question?
just have a comment.
Oh, yes.
Thank you so much for making that distinction between doing it for me. So like loud music, I just don't like it. As you know, I brought it up last month. And so, you know, in my mind, I could be saying, they're making me leave because of this loud music. So there I am showering to, you know, not liking, you know, hate to use the word hate. um, as opposed to, oh, you know, I need to protect myself, so I'm just going to leave.
Right. Yes, and I love the way that you said that too, because as you were saying that, it's like we can become part of the loud noise. You know, the loud noise is coming in, the loud music is coming in, and now we counterbalance it by screaming in our head. You know, we become loud noise now inside. Remember, I told you it's contagious. So
Yeah.
loud noise was out there, now it's here, and now I've become it. Rather than going, okay, I need to do something about this for me, help myself. Yes. So thank you for bringing it up like that.
Yeah, and I love that because, you know, sometimes, at times it brings me to tears because it's just so upsetting.
Yes. Yes.
And so, but other times, you know, I just want to scream.
Yeah, we become part of it. And
Yeah.
it's really hard. And we feel like, I can't even hear myself think, And so,
Absolutely.
yeah. So we have to do something to help ourselves in that moment, because if we engage with the individuals that are doing that, or every situation is different, but if we do engage with them when they're like that, it can make them like turn it up even more. So, now we have a situation that could be ongoing. So yeah, the best thing, and it's not wimpy to take care of yourself. It's completely strong to observe, I need to take care of myself and not feel resentful that I have to do it, because you don't have time right there in that moment to feel resentful. You need to take care of yourself in that moment. You need to come to your own rescue and help yourself, because it's hurting you. So that's
That was
good thing.
beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, because it just can take out of me any of that resentment, and I have a different focus.
Yeah, because now we compound the issue. And then we're going to think about them, and we're going to hold negative thoughts. And that's it just takes
I'm
up.
never going to that grocery store again.
Yes. Yeah, no, I get it. It's just that we forget that we compound the situation by by what's going on in our mind, and once we really realize that everything is contagious, love as well as, irritation, then we can start to like help ourselves to go, okay, what can I do to help me right now? Who am I right now? I am a person who knows where peace is, and I have to walk away from this, or I have to do whatever I need to put my earphones on, or whatever I need to do to help myself and come back to center. Yeah. It makes you a better person.
Yes. And thank you for sharing the story about your dad and you in the car. I mean, that would have been so funny if it was filmed and beautiful.
It would have been. It would have been. Yeah, it would have been. Oh, I know he was so frustrated afterwards, but I had to tell him, no, Dad, I saw how he was standing. We were okay. We were safe the whole time. But,
Yeah.
you have to be quiet, and whatever training that you have with yourself, breathing will help you to be able to notice a way out of a situation. When you practice what we're talking about, if you're in situations like that, kung fu or no kung fu, you will be able to feel, okay, this is going to get a little bit too difficult for me. So I need to move away from this, so we take better care of ourselves because we have the ability to get quiet enough to understand, oh yeah, this is beyond my capacity right now, so I can do something different. And that's a really good thing to do.
Right. And you didn't compound it by pulling your dad away or
No,
anything like that.
I knew that was
What are you
pride.
thinking?
Yeah, I just stood in front of him. Yeah, it was a moment of non-thinking. It just had to happen that way. But you see, we respond to situations like that with what we bring with us. So if we have a practice, we bring that practice with us to every situation that we have. If you only have a practice of exploding and you get into a situation like that, that's what you're going to do. But when you have a practice of peace, practice of finding yourself, practice of centering yourself, you're going to bring that to any situation that you have.
Chris has a question.
Chris, you have a question?
Yeah, but Mara had a question before, so I'll go after her.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mara.
Thank you. Yes, Jackie, yes, you spoke to last month's word introspection, and then the saboteur that was internalizing, which to me, asking you is that that's a saboteur in the sense of when we internalize, we assume or take things personally instead of thinking on a deeper level. Is that?
Yes. Yes, it's when we're in that whirlwind situation where we're just whirling around. We might have, it could be obsessive thinking in that moment, like maybe somebody upset us with the music or whatever. Now I find myself for the rest of the day obsessing on it, anticipating on it, and thinking about how bad they are and all of that. Because who hasn't had this situation and gone to an extreme, in some form or another. So I could maybe internalize on this for days. And instead of doing that, the more that I come to my process of introspection, the internalizing on the storm quiets. So I don't become part of the storm.
Yeah. So introspection. Oh, sorry.
Please go ahead.
Oh, introspection is self dialogue or analysis on a higher level as opposed to on a petty or more mundane level to internalize and create conflict within, so to speak.
Exactly. And the more conflict that I love that you use that term, because the more conflict that we create, I'm going to say it the way you did, within ourselves, then we create that with others.
Yeah.
So that was beautifully put, the way that you reasoned that out. Yes, internalizing is just that, we just spin over the same situation, happened 25 years ago and I'm still spinning around on it, whatever it might be. And I say it that way, not when I laugh like that, it's not because I'm like thinking of it in a demeaning way. I know we all do it. And it's like all of us to be able to have a little bit of a little bit more humor in how we look at ourselves and know that it's not the end of the world, to understand that, yeah, we participate in the things that we resent in others. We just have to learn not to do it, and that there's a better way. And again, to understand that spirituality develops strength. It doesn't make us passive. there are people who are concerned about growing spiritually because they do think that it means that you're going to have to be passive and you have to just do what you're told. And this has nothing to do with that at all. This is about having authority over ourselves.
Yeah, because I realize now that I was very caught up in this introspection, internalizing just this last month. That really hit me. Oh my God, that's exactly what I was, had a whole saga thing with. But anyway, great. It's it kind of resolved before today, which is wonderful. So anyway, thank you.
Oh yeah, thank you. Chris?
Yeah, I'm finding this really interesting, and what Mara just said too about the conflict, that was interesting. But what I've experienced is, especially in the environmental work that I do, for some reason when, and I mean no disrespect, so I apologize in advance if anyone feels that, but I'm wondering how it is that when I'm working with men who may be in charge, so to speak, of a situation, that there's far more conflict and chaos than when I'm working with women. And I feel as if I'm the same in each of those meetings. However, I find conflict arising with the men. And I'm doing my peace because I do that every hour with my ohms. And I'm just wondering though, how is it just, am I just becoming a man hater? Or is it just I'm going after the patriarchy too much, or what?
No, not at all. So first of all, we have to take into consideration where we have been in life, and as a woman, and you're a woman who is really working through a lot of things that have to do with men out in the world, men in authority, that kind of thing. And you've had some, situations that have been quite difficult. So you bring those memories with you to the table.
Okay.
So now when you're in front of these new men, there's a part of you that, of course, is not completely open. I mean, I wouldn't be, anybody that we know wouldn't be, because when we're hurt or we're chronically hurt by certain individuals, we carry that with us. And then when we are in a situation where the individuals across from us remind us of this pain that we have had, it's very, very difficult for us to find our peace with them. So the first thing is of course, like I said, we have to acknowledge that we have had these situations. So we bring trauma, or we bring hurt, we bring frustration, we bring all kinds of memories with us to the table. So now we're sitting in front of these people, and we kind of assume that they're going to act like how people have acted towards us before. And this is normal. This is just the way that it is, because we all bring our past with us everywhere we go. So for women, there have been instances where, all of us have been belittled or told, well, you're a woman. Like, that means what? I'm a mouse? I'm sorry. What do you mean you're a woman? So we all carry these kinds of things with us. So the thing for you is that when you're there is for you to know that you want to look for your inner power here, dear, because we all know how strong you are. And I say that in a way of to remember that, so that when you're there, know that your memories are going to want to overpower you a little bit. And you're sitting with men that are wanting, they're wanting to do what they want to do, but it's going to be hard because it's going to make you be like them.
Oy,
Now,
yeah.
when I'm saying this to her, I want you to know that I'm also saying I could be like them. You could be like them. All of us could be. So what you want to do, first of all, is you want to know that you don't want to, you want to remember, who am I? I am a woman, not a man. And I don't have to act like a man. I don't have to think like a man. I don't have to make decisions like a man, because I am not a man. I'm a human being in the form of a woman. And I have brought my own experiences with me to this situation that I know that these men have not had. So I need to be aware of that so that I can work around it, because they're not going to suddenly be educated about this kind of hurt that we carry.
Mm-hmm.
So as you know that, then you have to ask yourself, how can I move through this without stopping and thinking that they're being bad, or here we go again. You have to keep letting go of those kinds of thoughts so that you could think to yourself, okay, this is a very familiar situation, so I cannot react. I must respond.
Yeah.
A response is different than being reactionary. I say this because as a woman, we can get triggered in situations with men if we feel like they're just kind of wanting to be dominant. And it can make us react and become like a reactionary man. And then what do? They go, oh, this is why we don't invite women. They're so emotional.
Right.
It's ridiculous. And it's a very difficult and painful thing. And it becomes a memory for all of us. So instead of going through all of that, you come back to knowing, not just thinking, but knowing who you are and your strength, and knowing that these particular individuals, these particular men, individuals sitting across from you, are totally unaware of your inner strength as a woman. But you don't lose that. You stay with that, Chris. You stay with who you know yourself to be, and that you have nothing to prove. You have nothing to prove. You have so much love. You have so much information to share. That the more centered you are in that, your passion will not have any anger in it. Your passion will be pure, and it will actually touch them as compassionate thinking. If yours turns into anger, they already know where that is that you're dealing with, and they'll escalate that.
Mhm.
And once that happens, then it'll make you escalate. And then before you know it, there's not going to be any sort of communion whatsoever. So when we're with people who don't understand us, you have to accept that that's what you're dealing with. If we don't accept it, we're going to fight. If you do accept it, you're going to find a way. How do I say this? You're going to find a way to give them the education without hurting them. If it goes into their heart and they receive what you're saying, then it'll become part of them. But
Sounds
you
like
have
a Jedi mind trick of sorts.
It is a Jedi mind trick, because the Jedi were all about spirituality.
Right, right.
They were about mind control of themselves. And that's exactly what we're talking about. And that could be a modern example. Exactly.
Thank you.
Is.
That's awesome. Thank you
If you
so
let go of the
much.
word trick.
Yeah, yeah.
Thanks for asking the question. Okay. It was so lovely to be with all of you today. I look forward to it every month. And I look forward to meditating on the same word in October with all of us together. Right? So, peace be with you. Namaste.